Hey, I'm Matt Bissonette, and this is Bissonette Leadership Services. And today, I want to talk a little bit about team leadership. Now, at Bissonette Leadership Services, I believe there are three arenas of leadership. There's self-leadership, team leadership, and organizational leadership. And as those three work together, they work to drive forward an organization or a person. So team leadership is an essential piece of working together. And I like to use a propeller, the logo for my company's a propeller, because there's three areas. So today we're talking about team leadership. And what is team leadership? Well, it's about leading others. It's a shift from leading yourself to leading other people. And there's some things involved in what it means to lead other people. Now, you're going to still have to do self-leadership. You'll always have to do self-leadership, no matter whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're running a middle-sized business, whether you're running a large organization, you'll always have to do self-leadership. And that's covered in a different video. But self-leadership is the foundation. Now, working with teams, if you're a solopreneur, you're still going to have to work with a team. You might be a distributed team. You might be hiring somebody to do the work for you. But as soon as you have your own employees and you're running an organization with employees, now you have to deal with people. Now you're into the people business of leadership. And what does it mean to lead a team? So that's what this is about, team leadership, leading others. So building a team, it really starts with recruiting good people. And you might say, what does that mean? We've heard the analogy from Jim Collins and Good to Great, the right people on the bus in the right seats. So this is really about finding people that resonate with your organization, with your vision, with your purpose, with you, right? And as you can bring those people together and help them understand the people around them, that's what building a good team is all about. So recruit good people, people that reflect the values that you want to have. Then you're going to invest in your team, invest in them, in their development, in their growth, help them to be better at their jobs, right? Praise them for the work that they do. Invest in your people. Create a workplace culture that's positive. So don't be a micromanager. Try and help people know what their jobs are and release them to let them go do their jobs, right? Be outcomes focused, not process focused, unless of course the process has to be a certain way. But when possible, help people just understand what needs to get done and let them go do it. Create a culture they want to be part of, right? Help your team feel valued. If they feel valued, they will stay. But if they don't feel valued, then they're going to leave. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, do they think they're part of the team? If they don't think they're part of the team, then they're going to move on and go someplace else, regardless of the money. Because at some point, it's not about money. It's about feeling good about the work you do with the people around you. So build a good team. That's the foundation of team leadership. So as you're building a team, though, it goes through phases. And you might have heard this before. It's a tried and true acronym. It's called forming, storming, norming, and performing. And we're going to kind of walk through this a little bit just to give you a sense of what that really means, right? But here's the thing, at all four stages, whether you're forming a team, this is when you're bringing people in, and or storming, when you're moving through things, or norming, where it's becoming normalized processes and procedures, or performing, it's always going to have these three things. First thing is communication. You have to communicate. The second thing is expectations have to be clear. The third thing is accountability. If you do those three things as a team leader, communicate, have clear expectations, and hold people accountable, your team will succeed and it will thrive. Communication, expectations, and accountability. Now, what you do in each of those three areas changes based on where you're at in that cycle with forming, storming, norming, and performing. So forming your team, you're going to be heavy on communication, making sure that people know what's going on. What are you trying to do? Who's doing what? How's the processes work, right? Communicating. You're going to have expectations, of course. What is your job? What is your role? Are you doing your job? Are you meeting your goals? You're going to hold people accountable to it. But the large portion of forming is communicating so people know what's going on. Storming, this is around expectations. This is where you're still going to communicate, you're still going to have accountability, but you're going to be at expectations. So reasons there's conflict in the workforce, and the reason they call it storming is because people's expectations are out of whack. So as you communicate and you set clear expectations, the storm will pass, right? So expectations is part of storming. It smooths it off. People know what's expected of them, and you communicate it. Norming is where you hold people accountable. This is normal. We've communicated it. We've given you expectations. we're holding you accountable to it. This is where it begins to feel normal. Now, it doesn't feel extraordinary yet. It just feels normal. Okay, we got the new people onboarded. Johnny's gone, whatever. It's back to normal, right? Back to normal. The difference between normal and performing is where everybody begins to lift. And this is where communications, expectations, and accountability. Accountability is really where goals are met on time and exceeded. Outcomes are driven towards. That's where teams begin to soar, right? So this process of forming, storming, norming, and performing, it happens every time there's a change on your team. So get a new leader, go through the process. Have a team member leave the team, go through the process. Bring a new person on the team, go through the process. It happens every time. So as a leader, you have to get used to the idea of going through the forming, storming, norming, and performing process all the time based on changes, right? The better you get at that, the faster you can move from forming all the way back to performing and not lose productivity. So how you do that again? Communication, expectations, and accountability, okay? So that's one of the major tools you're going to use as a team leader. The next major tool is what's called the Deming Cycle. The Deming Cycle is plan, do, check, act. And you might have heard this as a continuous improvement process. Most often, that's what people use it for. It's you have a process, you change it, you check it, you do right. So this is what people have done for continuous improvement. But what it's really meant to be is a process that drives performance. And so I'm going to break this down. Plan, do, check, act. Plan. You have to have a plan. What is your written plan? Does it have defined goals? Does it say what you're trying to get to? Does it say where you're going, right? It has to be clear up front so people know communications, expectations, and accountability. So the plan has to incorporate those kind of things, right? That's where you start. Do is execute. Execute the plan according to what you said you were going to do. Plan, do. So do, again, is going to come back to communications, and accountability is a big part of doing the plan. Are you getting it done, right? Then check. After you've planned it and you begin working on it, you're going to check in. How's it going? This is the accountability piece. How's it going? Are we getting it done? Are we meeting our goals? And based on those discussions, you're going to tweak some things. You're going to act on it. That's what act is. Address the issues and revise the process, the plan, and you're back to plan, right? What's the new plan based on this? And then right back around. So it's ongoing. It's a continuous improvement process, but it's about driving results by communication, expectations, and accountability, right? So using the Deming Cycle, plan, do, check, act. So for team leadership, if you're able to take the forming, storming, norming, and performing model and intentionally build your team, and then you use the Deming Cycle, plan, do, check, act, and you help your team be effective, those two things together, that's all you need to be a really solid team leader, and your organization will move forward using those two models. So I want you to challenge you to do some reading on either one of those models, begin to see if you can't put those into your processes in your organization, and then you'll see a difference as soon as they begin to understand how they work. So I want you to keep growing forward, and thank you for watching.